Hi. Hi everyone. Hi Leke. Hi Eunice. Hi Auntie Sheila. Hi Balakale. Hey Bussy Girl. My brother Fo is on. Hi everybody. Welcome to the show. Hi Sis Chisa. Hey Wuna in the house. So I guess she's in the house already. Prompt like I like it. Hi Karima. Hi everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining today's episode of Crystalist Conversations. Welcome. I get so excited when I see all my crystallizers in the house. I look forward to Sundays at 7 p.m. It's really the highlight of my week. Hi Ife. How's everyone doing? Hope you guys are well. For those of us actually wherever you are, hope you had a good Salah. In Nigeria, we had 2 whole days off, so hope everybody enjoyed the extra long weekend. Hope you had lots of Salah meat. I didn't have any Salah meat. Nobody sent me Salah meat. I don't know what that says about me, my relationships. I don't know if that means people don't really love me, or because I'm not sure the reason why I didn't get any Salah meat sent to me. But it's not too late, so I'm still taking Salah meat too for anyone who wants to send me some. Hi. Hi everybody. I'm waiting for, can we pin the topic? Okay, I should try to do that actually. Ram is on quarantine. No, people, a lot of Ram was going around. I was seeing pictures on social media. So, I'm trying to pin the topic. Somebody suggested I do that. I think it's a great suggestion. So let me do that. Let me just, once I do that, then I will add my guest because she's in the house already, and then we can start. Let me see now. How do I pin comment? All right. So, oopsie daisy. Okay. I think we have enough people. Hello. Let me add our guest, and we can get started. Hey! Hi, Wuna!
I think I need to get closer.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Hello.
Ooh, there we go. Thank you so much, Wuna, for joining, for agreeing to be my guest today on this week's episode of Crystalist Conversations. I'm really looking forward to the discussion that we're going to have today. Wuna, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Hey.
I'm as ready as I can be. Honestly, no tea trees.
All right, so
we'll be fine.
It'll be fine. We're all looking forward to hearing your story, your testimony. So guys, before we get started, just house rules. If you've got questions for the guest, please put them in the question box. And then at the end, towards the end of the hour, we'll take questions from the audience. So please put all your questions in the question box, and we'll get started. Like I always like to do, I start by reading out the bio of my guest, who is not sitting still. I'm not really sure the reason why she's moving around.
I'm going to get close. Don't mind me. I don't want to wear my glasses. I want to see all the comments. I want to take it all in.
You look amazing. So today's topic is Journey to Motherhood, my waiting room experience. And so just by the topic, I'm sure you guys already know that Wuna is going to come talk to us about what I know the community, they like to call TTC, trying to conceive. Her experience as over the last 11 years or so that she's been married, trying to conceive, her testimony in the making. I like to say that people like Wuna and her husband are parents in waiting. So it's just a matter of time. But obviously, the last 11 years has been quite a roller coaster journey, ups and downs, so many emotions. And she's going to talk to us about the whole gamut of the experience that she's had. But before we get started, I'll read out her bio just so that those of you who don't know her have a little bit of insights into who she is and what she does. So Wuna Ademolu is a human resources professional with 14 years experience working within the financial services sector, telecoms, consultancy, and transport services as well. She carries a wealth of experience working in HR, transformation project management roles within FTSE 100 firms and helping organizations make the right HR decisions. When Wuna takes off her career hat, she spends a lot of her time pursuing her first love, which is modeling. That's how I actually met her, but we'll talk about that in a moment. And she's on Instagram at Woona2, WOONA2. On her page, she shares her passion for photography, fashion, lifestyle, and faith. She's a wife and an auntie, a proud auntie to 5 nieces and 2 nephews. Wuna enjoys traveling and she has been to 23 countries and counting. 23 countries and counting. She also spends a lot of time encouraging the trying to conceive TTC community through her YouTube channel, Wuna's World, where she shares her faith and waiting room experience with the hope of supporting and changing the negative narrative and stigma associated with infertility. Wuna credits her successes in life to her faith in God, a strong family support network, and a zest for life. That is Wuna Ademolu. She's our guest for today, and we're really honored to have her join the show. And so without any further ado, we're going to get right into the conversation. I was saying that how I met you. So just a bit of background. I've known Wuna for, I think, since 2006, 2007. What's that, 13 years? Or thereabouts,
yeah.
13 years. I met
13,
her
14 years.
Yeah, 13 or 14 years ago in Lagos, here in Lagos. I was working at the time as assistant editor of True Love magazine, which is a lifestyle magazine for women. And I met Wuna. She came to model. She models for me for one of my features that I was doing. I don't know if it was a hair or a beauty. It could have been any of those things, but she was introduced to me as a model and we just hit it off straight away. I remember when I met her, I was just like, who is this fine girl? And then on top of being extremely stunning, as you can see, she also had this amazing, just really warm character. She was so warm. I think we really took to each other. And I remember jokingly then, I used to say, this was before she got married, I used to say to her that, I will find, maybe you will marry one of my younger brother, my older brother was married then. But I was thinking that I just needed to have this young woman in my family. So I thought, I'll hook her up with my younger brother. But that didn't happen, but she's still in my family. She's my sister. She's been my sister for all these years. And I'm so, so, so proud of her. I've watched her journey through life. Like I said, when I first met her, she wasn't married. She got married 11 years ago, and I've watched her really blossom into who she is today. So that's really the story of Wuna, my sister, my friend. But Wuna, you tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your family background, your growing up years. What were your aspirations as a young girl?
Wow. Well, I was born and raised in Lagos State. So I spent most of my adulthood in Lagos. I only relocated or moved out to London, United Kingdom, where I live now with my husband in 2008. So I was born into a very large polygamous family. It was a really close-knitted one, unlike so many that I, happened to come across as I grew up and became more aware that my family was different and unique in itself. Because love really was the main focus. We looked out for one another. It wasn't like segregated like you would normally see amongst the normal typical polygamous home. We're just one entity. So what else? So I schooled in Lagos, Nigeria. I had my first degree from my state university, Kogi State University. If there's any KSU out there, hello. And I went on to have my master's degree in human resources. So my first degree was in accounting, and then went off to do my master's in human resources at University of Surrey in United Kingdom. And I've been working in human resources ever since, working with employee relations, transformation, you know, so there's so much training, recruitment, all the works to do with human resources, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so you just said that you moved to the UK 2008, to be with your husband. How did you and your husband meet, and how old were you when you got married and uprooted your entire life to the
I
UK?
know. Ruth Abakoku, I follow man.
Ruth Abakoku.
So what that happened was, my colleague at the time, who went on to be a very good friend and sister friend now, I can't even just call her a friend because she's a friend to the family, friend, to me. She's my husband's family friend. They basically grew up together as childhood friends. So at the time when I met her at work, she wanted me, like yourself, to be married into her family. She was like, "Oh, you're so lovely. I want you to be my sister-in-law." I was like, okay. So we met the brother, and unfortunately, brother had already dated a mutual friend, and I was like, "No, there should be a girl code. I'm not doing this." So I did, you work out with that, and she said, "No, I'm not gonna let you go. You still have to be my life somehow." And Kenny came into the picture in 2006. And we met then, and I was thinking, all this I just got back boys, London boys. I ain't got time for that, like, bruh. But he was really willing to put in the work and everything. It was a long distance relationship. And fast forward, oh, Ify, hi Ify, she's online.
Hey,
so fast forward 2009. Oh, so yeah. So I thought, okay, if this is going to work, let me come out here and do my master's and actually test waters. So me coming out here was initially to study. So, but along the line, I was focusing on man too and weighing my options. So, so I came to the UK, thought, okay, maybe I can live here, but it was really a big struggle because I was really homesick earlier in my marriage because I'd lived all my life in Nigeria, being out of the country, but it was just within Africa because I had the opportunity to work with ECOWAS. ECOWAS is West Africa Community of the Economic Community of West African States. West African States. So I had the opportunity to travel across most of the 16 or is it 15 states. I don't know how many states are still within ECOWAS now present. And it's amazing how beautiful Africa is. Honestly, like, we are the bomb. I mean, Africa is a place to watch out for anyway, basically. So I've had the opportunity to travel out the country. So going away to London was like a bit further. Like, I'm making a life transformation decision to leave everything I've always known behind to go and start up a life with this man. So as at 2009, I had to make the decision if it was going to happen or not. I was 29 then, biology clock was ticking. I love him. And I was like, hey, let's just do it. So we got married in 2009 and moved here officially 2009. So I got married at 29.
Okay, so you were 29, you got married, and you started a life with your husband. Now, you've said earlier that you come from a large family. How many siblings?
Well, 13. A football team and one bench or two on the bench.
13 children, all grown up, all raised in the same home. So, you come from a large family, lots of people around, lots of children around. So when you got married, did you desire a large family? And did you want to start a family right away? Or did you think, let me wait a little bit and get to know my husband or enjoy this married life?
So, I mean, I really wanted to start a family of my own, but not as a large one like the one I came up from. Not that I was opposed it, but in the current life that we live in, you know, except you're some multi-billionaire, it doesn't even make sense to have such a large family anyway. And that was more like an African thing. So I definitely knew I was going to have more than one child, because I mean, with the wonderful experience I had with my siblings, it would be a shame to just bring just a child to the world and not let them experience that, having siblings and enjoying that friendship, that love and everything. So I definitely wanted more than a child. I think I still want three, because three is my favorite number, and Holy Trinity and all the, you know, all that. So I want three kids, and the plan was for us to start. We didn't want to start almost immediately, partly because, you know, we wanted to get to proper know ourselves, because when we got married in 2009, that was the first time we proper moved in and lived together. So we thought, you know, we'd take a year out or two just to get to know ourselves, settle in properly in this life that we are looking to build, and start off in the UK, me get my career on track, and then we'll start our family. So that was the plan.
Okay, so you wanted, obviously you went into marriage thinking, I'm getting married, spend a year or so getting to know my husband, and then we'll start having the babies. We'll have 3 children. We'll live happily ever after. That's the script that we all expect when we are starting our lives out. Yeah. So after a year or so, when you started, I guess at that point, started actively trying, maybe a year, 18 months after, at what point did you and your husband now suspect or start thinking that maybe this isn't happening as quickly as we had imagined it would happen, or that something might be wrong?
So what happened was, in August 2011, summer 2011, I remember vividly, I was in church, and in our local church, we have like the monitor, the screen display, just featuring people in the congregation, you know, once in a while, all throughout the message, and as the service was going through. So during one of those moments, I was lucky to be put on the spotlight, and I saw myself and I thought, wow, like I look really pale. I don't know if it was the way I sat down, I looked like I was spreading somewhat. And obviously after the service, a lot of people came towards me to congratulate me, saying, wow, congratulations, how
baby's
far
on the
along
way.
are you? You know, born in the open and everything. I'm thinking, I'm not pregnant. I'm like, what? Did you see yourself on the screen? I was like, well, I'm not pregnant. They're like, well, you need to have that checked. So I got home. I was even actually excited that, oh, maybe it's happened. I mean, we got married in 2009, you know, it's over a year now, nearly coming up to 2 years. It's about the time that was we planned, you know. So let's see. So I did a test and it was negative. You know, I was telling my friend, and she was like, don't matter. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't come up on tests, you know, keep thinking to book an appointment with a GP and get some blood test work done. And maybe it will be picked up through the blood. So I did that. I booked an appointment with the GP at the time and went for the test. And by the time I had my test result come back, it was still a negative. And I was like, wow, okay. So if it's a negative, why is my tummy protruding?
And so your stomach was protruding.
My stomach was protruding. I had all the symptoms of someone who was pregnant. My eyes were like proper white. My pupil was white. My skin, my color complexion was pale. And I thought, you know, this looks like everything. Although I was still having my cycle, and they said it was still possible that people had their cycle and didn't, you know, still not know that they were pregnant. So by the time we went back to the gynae to say, look, if I'm not pregnant, then definitely something's wrong, because this is not how I normally look like. And upon further checks and everything, they discovered that I had fibroids. And, you know, they scheduled me to have surgery in November 2011.
Right.
Which was meant to be an hysterectomy. That's a keyhole surgery. I don't know if I pronounced that well. The medical people forgive me. So keyhole surgery, basically, I was meant to have that in November 2011. But by the time I went in for the operation, they had to, when they brought me back, I realized that, you know, it didn't seem like I was gone for long. Looking at the clock and everything, I was like, so what happened? They said, well, we couldn't operate because when we got in, the fibroid was way bigger than what we thought it was. So there's no way we're going to take it out through the keyhole surgery without risking you bleeding or getting further complications. So they decided to refer me back to my gynae to then get me on to be scheduled to have the myectomy.
Okay.
I hope I'm using the right time. Yeah.
Doctors in the house.
Yeah. So my myectomy.
Any doctors in the house, please, as she's talking,
please help us.
The medical terms for us.
So I was scheduled to have the myectomy, which is the one that's like a C-section. So they draw a line underneath your belly button and just well below the pelvic area. That was what was scheduled for the following year to have that done.
Okay.
So I had that done in May. And once I had that done...
So this is now 2012. We're now in May 2012. Yeah.
Yeah, May 2012, I had it done shortly after my birthday. And it was a huge success, and there wasn't any complications. And yeah, at the time, the fibroid was a really big one. It was, they said the size was the equivalent of a 20 weeks pregnancy.
Wow.
So, and I was holding that around thinking maybe, you know, I was pregnant, but I wasn't. It was just a tumor that I was carrying around. So my body, everything came back to normal, was great. And when I went back to my gynae, they said, look, you are 32 now. I think we should actually refer you for fertility treatment if you're looking to start a family, because it's not like you've got age on your side. And I think 32, is it really that bad? I said, yeah. At that age, your eggs, you know, really start depreciating or going pear-shaped, like, you know, I don't know what right word to use, but basically your chances reduces once you hit that age 30. Yeah.
So at 32, you were already considered to be advancing in age. And so it was said to you that if you know you want to start a family, then you better get on this IVF train right away. Yeah. Okay. And were they worried that maybe the fibroid would come back? Or?
Oh, yes. And they did say, look, this is the best time. We don't want you sitting around, especially with the size of fibroid that you had. There's actually a chance that it might come back. So it's best for you to quickly try and get on now and try the IVF. But because I had a myectomy, which it would take me longer to heal, they didn't sign me up for the IVF till 6 months later. So I had surgery in May. I had like 6 months to recover. So basically, it brought us back to another year. 2000.
So now we're in 2013.
Yeah, 2013.
4 years, going on 4 years married now.
Yeah.
As Smith says, 35 is AMA. I'm not really sure what AMA is. So please tell us what AMA is.
Oh, yeah, please tell us what AMA is.
Oh, advanced middle age. Maybe, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Please tell us.
All right.
Okay, so then, you know, we're in 2013 now, you're getting ready for your first IVF procedure. How did that go? And what was the outcome?
Yeah, I would say it was, I was nervous and excited. It was a positive because I responded well to the treatment. Everything went okay. I even produced more eggs than anticipated. I had like, so I don't know if anyone's familiar in the house how IVF works. They put all these stimulants in you and then take you to collect the eggs after a certain period of time. So at the time they collected the eggs from me, I had like 16 eggs. So by the time they'll put it through the process of making it into embryos and all that, it was down to about 8, I think. And they had a full, at the end of it all, but the successful viable embryo that I had was 6, I think. So, so I was lucky to do a fresh cycle. But what happened subsequently was I became really ill. I was so poorly that I was readmitted in a hospital. I was bleeding heavily. So,
and this was
so
the result of what?
Checking. So apparently I hyperstimulated. I don't know the terminology for that as well. If there's anyone in the house that knows what that means. So basically my body system has overproduced eggs, and hence it means that I was dehydrated and my body was all of that. And on top of that, I had an infection as well. As you guys would know, well, I don't know if you know, when they do the egg collection, it's like an invasive procedure as well, because they put you under. They put you under to collect your eggs. And for some weird reason, they didn't give me antibiotics.
Okay.
But the explanation at the time was if they're giving me antibiotics, it would hamper the whole IVF process. because antibiotics kills every foreign cells in your body. So putting the embryo back into my body with antibiotics is going to fight it and kill it. So yeah, someone said it, ovarian hyper syndrome. Yeah,
Stimulation. Thank you for that. And Dr. Ruka has explained that AMA is advanced maternal age. So by the time you're 35, you're considered advanced maternal age. Wow.
All right.
That's a different show. I'm going to have a show around this idea of, women and when our optimal fertile years and all of that, and how that maybe sometimes conflicts with the modern lifestyle that we're living, where we're told you go to school, do your masters, do your career, do all of that, and where most of us are well into our 30s.
Later.
Exactly.
So, later in life.
The impact of that, but that's a different show. So go ahead.
Yeah, that
so you're very poorly, and what's happening?
I was very poorly, and by the time they did the scans and everything, they found that I had a pelvic collection, a collection in my pelvic area, which was pus that I'd kind of brewed over the days, and they had to go back in and do a surgery to drain it out because the antibiotic wasn't going to help kick it out. So they had to proper drain that pus out and patch me back up again. So that was what happened. So that fresh cycle was went out the window, was real.
Okay.
But thankfully, I had 4 frozen embryos, good frozen Bible embryos in the back. So it didn't seem like all hope was lost at the time. There was hope, and there was light in the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So so you had this procedure done because you had this infection and all of that. Then you had to recuperate from that, I imagine.
Yeah.
Before they could now start to try to do. You had 4 more viable embryos. So they needed to try and implant 2 more.
The frozen ones. So
the frozen ones. So at this point, please, because I'm trying to plot the timeline. At this point, we are now into 2014. Abi?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yes, we were. Yeah, we were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well into 2014. So they implant another two eggs.
2 frozen
embryos, rather. Another 2 embryos. And then what happens?
So unfortunately, they always say that the doctors always hold their hand high. Like, we don't have control over these things. We just do what we can. We do the necessity within science, and we leave it to the higher powers. They say we leave it to higher powers to decide if this will take or not. So, and they always say the first cycle has a higher chance of, becoming a pregnancy as opposed to the frozen cycle. So basically the 4 frozen cycles. So, okay, all right. I don't want to say that I live a life of regret, because I don't regret any of the process. I don't. I appreciate all my learning experience, and that's why I'm sharing it. So maybe perchance I might help someone else with their decision making. Because if I know what I know now, just maybe I might make some more informed decisions that potentially might change. But who knows? I'm saying this now, but I don't know if that's what's actually even God's plan for me. Because if it was meant to be at the time, irrespective of whatever the condition is, it would happen. So both stages, I did 2 frozen cycles after that, over a couple of, I think over 6 months or about a year, and they didn't take.
So the collection, that initial collection that you did, where we got, I think, is it 16 or 14 eggs that were now, whittled down to 6 viable embryos. And so at the end of this, I guess that's what you call a cycle. At the end of this entire cycle, none of these took. You had 3 implantations and none of them took. So we are now in 2015, and I'm just wondering, what were your emotions? This has been already, you started this, I think, 2012. We're in 2015 now, and you've had what must have been devastating disappointment. What were your emotions? What were you feeling? What were you thinking as you were?
I mean, I would say at that time I was still feeling okay. I was still feeling like I can handle this. God is in control.
God is in control.
But from 2015, Oh my God, I will never forget that year. That year went down as a year in history.
2015?
So 2015.
Yes.
So 2015, months leading to 2015 was just fantastic. I had a brilliant time.
Mm.
I had a family friend that was getting married. My younger brother was getting married as well in 2015. I had my brother-in-law who got married in 2014. So basically, between 2014 and the first half of 2015, I had the opportunity to go back to Nigeria 3 times. So that was like a trip for me. Like, I love Nigeria, and I'll always take every opportunity I can to go home and see family. That's big for me. So it was great. I was really super excited. I had weddings to look forward to, new life for loved ones and everything. But then after my brother got married in May, come August, as we are now, August, this week, I'm sure I'll be fine. On the 7th of August, I lost my dad. And it was the lowest point for me. I think that's where everything changed. Because I felt robbed. It was all sort of angry, disappointment, sad. I was depressed, guys. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I was depressed. I was really angry at God. I cut off completely. I just didn't even care. I was not interested anymore because I lost my mom when I was 6. So my dad has been my all in all. He stepped in as a father, as a mother, and he did a great job, raising us, putting us, because my mom was the first wife. So you guys can imagine how it is, Nigerian home, having stepmoms, and, it just seems like the person that has a mom is the one that probably might obviously have an upper hand over the other child who doesn't have anyone to look out for them. But my siblings and I didn't ever feel like someone had to always intervene. My daddy made us priority. So he's always stepped up and looked up for us. And I would have loved the experience of him meeting my grandchildren.
Yeah.
Well, so also we scheduled to have an IVF in 2015. And with my dad passing, I think the other hope that I had towards when it was coming up to me during the IVF in November 2015 was, maybe this is God going to use this to console me and make it work. So I did the IVF in 2015 November, and guys, I did not respond to nothing. Like, there was not one single egg in my body. So I went from, producing 16
OHSS, hyperstimulation
for Zoom
to nothing.
So nothing. Like, man, nothing was happening.
Nothing was
so
happening.
It was really heartbreaking. I just felt robbed. I felt it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel fair.
It didn't feel fair.
But who are we to say what was fair or not?
Yeah. So, it's I mean, for me, I'm putting myself in your shoes of having such a rough year, losing your dad, like you said, who was, and I know how, that you and your dad were very close. And I also know what it's like to feel like, I just want my father to meet my children. I want to have him see my children. He's so important to me. Also, maybe feeling like, this is the time when I can begin to spoil my dad. He's done so much for me. He sacrificed so much for us. And to have him taken away from you at that time already would have been such a devastating blow. Yeah. But I also understand this, those of us who are a little bit spiritual are thinking, well, they will start telling you that maybe this is God's way, that at least God must compensate me for this. So I'm
transactional Christians.
Yes, God must compensate me, So after all this loss and heartbreak and devastation, this November one must work. It must work now. So to now have another procedure done in November and to come out of it and to say not even a single egg, what did that further do to your state of mind?
It was Oh goodness, I can't even put words to it. Honestly, I can't put words to it because I mean, I'm saying this now because I know at the time, because a lot of my friends, you know, did help as much as they could, but so much was happening as well. So about that time in August, my church, my local church, split up as well. So there was all of that happening in my home front, my family, immediate family. Then I had the church, my spiritual home, where was my solace, also splitting up and breaking up. And I'm thinking, you know, and it was so much happening at the time that it seemed like the right support that I should be getting, I couldn't, because that kind of overshadowed everything. And it kind of worked because that kind of just went under the radar. How are you? How are you? I'm fine, I'm fine. But I was there dealing with my demons, to say about myself. So yeah.
Okay, so in all of this, you know, obviously you're dealing with this, you're physically having to go through pain of the procedure and all of that, then you're also dealing with your emotions. But what impact did that have on your marriage, your relationship with your husband? How were you guys able to navigate this? Because I'm sure this puts pressure on any marriage, no matter how strong.
Oh my goodness. I mean, like I always say, infertility is, you know how you say marriage is, you just, you it's a school you go through and don't have a certificate. You get your certificates before you start. It's not like you finish it. So it's not a finish, it's a school or a study you go through that you never finish. But they're giving you a certificate, but you're going to be going through it. So to now have that to deal with, you know, the pressure was just immense. Not that there was anyone putting pressure on me. I think I was my own demon, because you know how sometimes it might not actually even be me. I might have cooked up some things in my head thinking, yes, I'm a failure. Someone looks at me and probably think, oh yeah, she probably doesn't deserve it because whatever it is she's done in her lifetime or something. Yeah, and you know, you're always just feeling like, see, you need to be validated, because being a woman, aside from all your accomplishments, having a kid just seems like something that validates
you as a woman. Like,
as
if you can't
have children,
then are you a woman?
Are you really a woman?
If you cannot,
how they say to Yoruba. And, still to today, I can't even listen to that that lady, is it Tola or Toyin, that did that song with CY Bello?
Yes, that song about
getting emotional. Like, it just breaks me, like, want to pay me lagori,
and if you can't have children in our culture, then it's like, are you really a woman?
So, thank you. So it was, you know, it was really hard, and I know my husband tried his best. He's only human, for Christ's sake. Who signs up for this? Boy see fine girl, boy wants to marry. No one wants the, you know, nightmare story shit. We just want a happy ending. And you know, like, no pressure. His younger brothers come behind us now. They've got their kids, and it just seems like, oh yeah, we started this trip. What's happening? You know, we go to family gatherings. And I'm a very, very sociable person. Like, you can't dim my lights. Except I'm not there. That is when I'm not there. But if I'm there, you know that I'm there. So it became really difficult and challenging to go to family events. You know, I can remember one time as well, I was somewhere in Lagos. I'm not going to say where it is, so it doesn't seem like I'm throwing shade. And I can remember them saying, oh, go and call on this person is around. And as I was making my way down, this person now asked, Shorty be money. And I'm thinking,
Shorty be money.
And I'm thinking, you are in the family. Of course, if I'd had a kid, they would have told you now. So why are you asking Shorty be money? Like, of course you would have known if I had a kid. You know I don't have a kid. So what was that about? So you can't help thinking, when you leave the room or when you walk into the room, is it you they were talking about, or what are they thinking about you and everything? And it just makes it difficult for me actually going to certain places, seeing families, safeguard my heart. Because you know how the Bible says, you know, all of the heart is issues of life. So I just thought I need to put myself first and just safeguard myself and just do what makes me happy. Basically, me first, every other person fall in line.
But then you were talking about how, you said your husband was doing his best, but really in terms of your relationship with each other, and especially coming out of this, was a very difficult year. What impact did that have on,
like
you?
it really, I think the strain, 2015 was really a bad year for me, man. And I'm sure my husband probably came out to be like, thank God we're done with that year. Because I was so not happy. I actually even wanted out of the marriage. I wanted out of the marriage partly for him. Because it might seem like it's a selfish reason for myself. But it was me thinking about him like, okay, well, I'm at this stage now. The only person that would even care about their feelings is my dad. And the man's gone now. So it's not like I'm going to have a heart attack because I worked out on my marriage, or I didn't make it work or something. So there was no one. I don't think I'm accountable to anyone right now. If you're not paying my bills, you can't shove up your opinions yourself. So it's only God and God alone. So after, my dad passed away, I thought, maybe it's time to just let this man go. Let me start my whole new journey with myself and I. Because I just felt like it was unfair to just drag him on. I did breach the conversation of divorce. Like, I don't think this is working. Maybe we should all go our separate ways. I just think it's unfair for me to tie you down and everything. And he was like, I didn't marry you because of a child. I didn't marry you because of the child. So I don't know where all of this is coming out from, but did I put pressure on you? Did my mama say something? Did my brother say something? Did my sister say something? And I didn't have anything to hold. Say, actually, maybe someone to me to my face and say, you need to pack your door from my house or something. So
there was none of that. It was just you and your you feeling like
making things up.
Yeah, and feeling like, and I think it is on some level, it's a rational response to the pain and the pressure that you must have been under. That, look, let's just go our separate ways. This is not working. But I remember when you and I were speaking about before this, that you said something which I think is important. You said, looking back now, there's no other person that you would have gone on this journey with except for your husband. Yes,
thank you very much. So I think I had an eureka moment when he told me that, like, we probably had a conversation. He said, look, I didn't marry you because kids. If this happened, this is just blessings of God on top of what it is that we have. So, and after I went away and in my own thoughts, I was thinking, girlfriend, are you tripping or what? Because if you're looking at all your exes and everybody, there's no one that would have walked this road with you. Like this guy is done. He's stuck with you, through thick and thin. So this is the lowest we can ever be anyway. And he's still sticking around. Double points for him. So I thought, okay, reset your head. This is all in your mind.
Reset your head. So you were able to pick yourself up again after that point. And I remember, I had the opportunity a few years ago to interview the late Ibidu Igodalo, when she was also going through this journey of trying to conceive. And I remember asking her that, what if God doesn't do it? Where we all have that thing where we're waiting on God for, we're praying about, and all of that. I remember asking her, what if it never happens? What if God doesn't do it? And she said something which has stayed with me. This interview with her was maybe 7-8 years ago or so. And she said, if God will not do it, then let it be left undone. And I thought that was such a powerful statement of faith.
I feel like
what is your own faith philosophy as you are going through this? What has been your own faith philosophy?
Honestly, she couldn't have put that. It seems like we probably sat down somewhere together and discussed that, and literally we're on the same page. Because people are going through a lot of stuff. People are doing desperate things just to have kids. I mean, my last YouTube video, you guys can check it. The link is still on my bio. I talked about one of a gruesome experience that a couple went through, just all on the sake of them trying to have a child. And one thing my husband and I have agreed on is no jumping up and down the whole place trying to solicit for prayers or wanting everywhere, because except we believe that God is one, and where 2 or 3 are gathered, his presence is. and we don't need to be hopping up and down one prayer house or something, you know, to go and make prayers or revolution about, you know, something. So we've agreed, if God can't do it and take all the glory, then that's it. That is it. It can't, yeah. Otherwise, I don't want a child, we don't want a child that is not in line with God's plan and purpose. Because we've seen it times and times, is mistakes that people in the Bible, that's been recorded in the Bible, that they've made. We can talk about our father Abraham, whilst waiting for his, you know, promise, a child of promise, Isaac. Him and his wife going to go and do their own plan on the way. You know, we can't do God's work for him. So I would say we're both on that same page in terms of let God do it, or it's nothing.
Okay. So, anyhow, I mean,
yeah,
I know that you've had, you know, and I'm looking at the time, and time is short as always.
Oh my goodness.
But I know that just to summarize it, I know you had other rounds of IVF after that, which also didn't take. So at this point now, coming off of this question of, you know, if God will not do it, let it be left undone. I know that there are other paths to parenthood. Have you considered other paths beyond, you know, the natural or the IVF? There's surrogacy, there's adoption, there are other paths to parenthood. Have you considered, what are your feelings about that?
Yeah, we have considered surrogacy. And that's one of the things that I was saying, that at the time when I had my frozen eggs, the doctors breached that, you know, option to us to see if we can get a surrogate to help us, you know, to carry the child. But partly my Niger mentality, or maybe the people in my village that was following me, I was hell bent on, you know, actually experiencing pregnancy, carrying my own child, and I insisted, like, no one's going to carry my babies for me. I'm going to carry all that. So I stupidly did not heed any of this advice at the time. But another thing is, surrogacy here in the UK is tricky. It's not straightforward. Someone needs to offer to do it voluntarily.
Can't pay somebody to do it.
Sorry?
You can't pay somebody to do it.
You can't pay someone to do it in the UK. But in America, some states it is transactional, like you could pay someone to do it. But even there's still the underlying clause that the woman who's carried the child, even though the eggs and, you know, is not part of her, she's just an incubator, could, you know, have the rights to the child. So it's not always, you know, there have been several movies that's been done about it to showcase the struggle that people who are struggling with fertility are going through, even through surrogacy. And I hear in Nigeria, it's also something that's also an option that is really there. Because, you know, things like that, they will frown on it. Even if you're going to do it, you still have to do it on the coded. So you're not going to start telling someone openly at a party that you have a surrogacy sitting behind you, or someone next to you is a surrogacy. It's still all done on the under G. So that's the kind of stigma that we need, the narrative we need to start changing, and also probably make it, you know, make people more aware that they can actually offer. They can offer to help friends and family. I had 2 friends. I still even spoke to one this week who was saying, how far now? This COVID-19, this year, she's ready to help me do it. Like, she wants to do it.
So are you considering it now? Is it actually now a value?
It's something that we were really considering, but because of COVID, we can't move ahead with it now. We can't move ahead with that. Yeah, but it's, you know, I've got 2 friends who've offered to help me with it. Thankfully, God bless their heart. I can't mention who they are, but I've got 2 friends who've offered to help me with it. But because of COVID, that can't happen now in 2020. So again, it still boils down to, does God want to do it naturally? Is it about waiting on him? But I don't want to be that Christian that is being overly spiritual and earthly useless. So, you know, where there's the opportunity to try out medical advancements, by all means, I will take it within reason, within means. I'm not going to go into debt because I'm trying to find a child, because where's the resources to raise the child then, once I've racked down all my finances and trying to get one? So we can go on this journey now, and I can just pop up tomorrow and be pregnant naturally after all the reports and doctors. So I don't know how God wants to do it. I know who he is, and that's more than enough for me to, you know, to take to the bank. How, where, and what, I leave that to him.
You know, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we are open to it. And adoption as well is another big, you know, topic as well. I am following the leading of my husband on that area. I mean, if he's ready today to say, let's do it, I don't even oppose to it. I'm someone that warm up to children warm up to me. So I don't even believe I need to have a child that is of my blood before I can actually be a mother to the child. I would be surprised that I would have a child that I can't connect with. That I mean, I would even be surprised myself, if I'm in that situation. But hey, I can't get pregnant.
I love what you're saying, because I mean, I believe that no matter what path you take to parenthood, they're all valid. Whether it's natural, whether it is, and I hesitate to use the word natural because it means that another one is not natural. They're all natural.
Biological.
Biological, exactly. Whatever path you take, whether it's surrogacy, whether it's adoption, whether it's IVF, whether it's, they're all valid. I just think that you have to be led and feel the conviction in your heart that this is what God is doing for you, and there is none of them that does not require God to bless that path. There is none of them that at the end of the day, if God is not in it with you,
it won't happen. There are people who've tried to do adoption and they've been waiting years to get a child. And the dogs will just step in, and a couple of months they got a child. So if God's hand is not in it, you can't go ahead and run you need to ensure that God is in the grand plan and not you creating God's work.
I think that's where faith, having this absolute faith comes in, and also having the faith to say that God, your perfect will be done. I will accept your will, whatever your will is. It takes a major level of faith to be able to say that, and to not feel like you have to become desperate and start saying I'm going to all sorts of things just because you're trying to get this thing. And I also wanted to make the point that sometimes we're talking about fertility here, but this applies to us in all areas of our lives.
That's principles.
In all areas of our lives. So I wanted to, guys, if you have questions, please put them in the question box. I can take questions so Wuna can answer the questions. But what we're saying, this applies in all areas of your life, whether you're waiting for a child, or you're waiting for a job, or you're waiting for a breakthrough in your finances, or you're waiting for a husband in the first place, for a spouse or a life partner, or whatever it is you're waiting for. You have to be able to wait in a way that says, God, whatever your will be done. Now, I know that there's a tendency, though, for this waiting to consume your life, for you to now become defined by, this is the only thing that is important to me in life. That I don't have anything else that is important but this thing that I'm waiting for.
They're saying there's no question button. Someone said there's no question button.
Okay, then if you don't see some people for some reason don't see it. If you don't see the question button, please just put your question in the comment section. It just means I have to try and scroll up. But I know what are the things that you are trying to do to occupy yourself, to you have other passions, things that you're doing to occupy and to have a full life while you are waiting, while you are in the waiting room.
I mean, the foundation for me has always been Christ. He's my everything. And by the time I go full cycle, I still wind up back at him, as back to God, who is the ultimate finisher of my faith. I know he created me in his image. I might not be the perfect human, but he's made me in his image, so that I will take to the bank. And all I know from this journey is I know God wants to test my faithfulness. And that's what he wants from us as human beings. He doesn't want us to be perfect, because at the end of the day, all our holiness is but like a filthy rag before him. None is holy. So all I know is that I will continue to be consistent in Christ, and through that is that ensuring that I enjoy my life. Because what God wants for me is to have a life and have it in abundance. And abundance to me means not letting what I don't have control over hold me bound. I'm breaking all boundaries. I love fashion, and I try to portray that every how I can. I love photography. I love taking pictures. I've done a bit of modeling back in Nigeria, so I still make myself feel good and take my pictures and post it. So I know some people will feel like, oh, say picture look on thing, you know, you don't want to lose your shape or body because of. Don't let all the noise, silence them, like turn off the notification of any distraction. Find yourself, discover yourself in Christ, and just like you said, every other thing will be added onto you. So that's what I do, what would make me happy, and as long as it's in line with the will of God. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not killing anyone and I'm not making anyone feel less than herself, I believe that we're all light of the world and salt to the earth. And how do I do that? By showing someone, look, I'm not perfect, my life is not perfect. Maybe in the eye of the world is not the peachy beautiful life, but I'm telling you, I will make the most of what I have. I will make lemonades of the lemons I've been thrown at. So I've been filling my times with, you know, fashion. I've been learning how to sew. And I'm also taking on the YouTube channel as well, hoping to do, you know, videos every day to inspire the community of people trying to have kids. So they just be more confident and just love where they at, because you won't have this time again. And I want this t-shirt for everyone. Maybe they can see it.
Step back.
Yeah,
Step back.
you
Step back.
only live once.
You only live once. YOLO.
You only live once, guys. I want this for you. So please, you only live once. This life is once. I don't know if there's any other life than this. So please take the chance and enjoy it. It's only the dead that can't praise God. As long as there's life and breath in you, you should be screaming out loud, whatever the situation. And you know, God will bless us in our waiting, in our journey and everything.
You know, when a round of applause for you. You're a strong woman. You're a woman of faith. You know, you inspire. Like I said to you before, that, you know, I've watched you and you inspire me in my own life as well. And I think that the key thing is not to be defined by what we don't have, but to really focus on the things that we do have and what we're able to give to the world. I know that you have a lot of children in your life. I told you the other day, every 2 seconds, you are posting a happy birthday to my baby. You have so many babies, so many, you know, but you're also, you're somebody who's living your life to the fullest. And I think that's the only way to go through this life. Like you said, God wants us to live life and live it in abundance. You have questions. I'm going to try and take some questions. Somebody says,
oh yeah.
What have you learned?
What have I learned about myself through this, and what do you know for sure? Wow, honestly, I didn't even think. I look back now, it's coming up to 11 years that we've been trying. I can't even believe it sometimes. When I wake up, like 11 years. 11 I can't afford to waste any more time. Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to accomplish? Go get it. Like, set a prayer, make a wish, go out there and get it. So that's my, like, I just learned, like, you know, life is like the clock is ticking, basically. And I'm like, I need to do what I need to do. Ensure that I am, you know, living a full life, and also lending a hand to someone to say, hey, you can do this. We can live a full life. You don't need to cover yourself in shame. I don't even care if you had anything done that might actually be, even if it's your fault. The Bible says, even the lawful captives shall be set free. So even though it was the abortion you are going to do before, or whatever it is anyone is accusing you of, or even yourself, in your subconsciousness, you're accusing yourself of, please, the blood of Christ Jesus negates it. He cancels it all. So you are free. Renew your mindset and get out there and live your life.
Live your life.
You don't want
I don't want to cut you off. I have 1 minute left. And
1 minute.
Ask all the questions. I know that, you know, your life is a walking testimony, and we will still continue to hear many more testimonies from you.
Yes.
People have so many questions. I don't know, guys. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna come back. So don't go away, just because I feel like I don't like to do this often, but I feel like we haven't. So if you guys don't mind, actually we have just 45 seconds, but if you want to stay on, I'm going to stay on with Muna for maybe another 20-30 minutes, just so we can take some questions, because quite a few questions in the question box, and we haven't had an opportunity to take those questions, and I feel like they're valid, and, you know, and I think you're really asking. So please, you know, this is such an amazing conversation. You are inspirational. So you guys, if you want to stay, just hang on, and I'll come right back on the live, just because Instagram cuts us off after 1 hour. So I'll come right back. So we'll be right back.
All right, guys.
Hey, Ifama, my school daughter, how are you? Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for coming back. I just felt like it was important that we had a little bit more time with Wuna. I know a lot of you had questions, and I wanted her to be able to take some of your questions and for us to be able to round up the discussion nicely. So thank you all for coming back. I'm just waiting for Wuna to join, and once she joins, I'll add her and we can restart the conversation. We probably won't need to go for the full hour, but yeah, if you've got questions, I know some of you had questions before. Unfortunately, the questions don't translate. They don't come. I can't move them here. So if you had questions before that haven't been answered, please put your questions in the comment section, and I'll make sure that Wuna answers as many of your questions as possible. She's here now, so I'm going to add her and we can continue. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back.
Hi, sis. Hello, everyone. Thank you for
Thank
tuning
you all
in.
for coming back. Thank you for being so engaged in this discussion. When I think where we left it at, you were talking about we were talking about having a full life and not being defined by your waiting experience, or not being defined by what you don't have, as opposed to what you do have, which I think is really important, because I think life, people in the world want to define you by what you don't have, or they want you to feel a certain way because you would have come up against, and now that we've come back, we might have the time to talk about some of that stigma or some of those cruel things that people sometimes say without meaning to, and some we can be insensitive, but all those things that put pressure on you and make you start feeling like, if I don't have this, then I'm not enough as a person. But somebody asks you, just exactly what we're talking about. What are the most inappropriate things said to you that shouldn't be said to people who are waiting?
I think for me, I am not one to take offense. Like, you can literally insult me to my face and I'll still be smiling stupidly like this. Like, I am not someone, I am passionate, but I am not confrontational. I don't think anyone will ever tell me I fought with them before, or even call them out on stuff, except you're like my personal person. If not, I don't care. Like, you're in your zone and in your mindset. For you to actually even project that, I don't think I should actually be trying to help you change that view. Like, I just feel like move along. But I had some couple of kind of talks that I just feel like it's just inappropriate. Like, I had someone say, oh, like, especially when my in-laws, got married and everything, someone say, you now have a new wife. God will do it for you. What's my life? How is it attached to the girl's life or the person's life that their own wishing for me? Like, their own wishing for me, or like you go to naming ceremonies and they'll say, oh, no, ma, they'll call you out and say, for those who are waiting for the fruit of the womb, come out. And like, also that ain't necessary. Like, people deal with things differently. I know I can take a lot of BS, but some people can't. Like, I have to, like, I belong in several groups that pertain to women, people who are waiting on the fruit of the womb, and I hear some sort of things, and that's one of the things I'm looking to be featuring on my YouTube channel, to talk about people's experience and all of that, to feedback that everyone is different. You can't treat the same people. You could have said things to someone else and gotten away with it. Doesn't mean it's right. So sometimes people need to just dial back and think. And for me, again, one thing I just always, because I know my family, people get frustrated. I'm like, Obama Jewo, why is it you? Like, you're just not the person.
You don't deserve this.
You don't deserve that. I'm like, okay, am I supposed to feel good about that now? Like, if you
who deserves it?
You like, deserve it. Yeah, who deserves? I can't even wish this on my enemy. On top of how, even my enemy hurts me, I can't wish this on my enemy. So for you to tell me that I don't deserve this, do you more or less, am I even so sure that that's what your genuine heart actually even means? Maybe there's something else Yeah, just trying to internalize in all our ways. But yeah, you know, I feel sometimes people just really need to really intercede for people in prayer, for people who are waiting in the fruit of the womb. Because I also was saying to a friend, there was someone I was praying with about this fruit of the womb. This person is not a Christian, and they're like, oh, and they got pregnant, and they're like, I don't understand how you can still be so encouraged, you know, and you're still happy. Even me with the kids, even now that the child has come, I'm just depressed, I'm just overwhelmed and everything. It's like, well, for me, I'm not saying that I'm Jesus Christ or I'm bearing the cross for anyone. No, I don't even have, I've never carried my own burden. That I want to carry someone's burden. But who would they rather would suffer this trial and tribulation? Should it be unbelievers that would go off and compromise their faith? Or should it be those of us who are, we call ourselves true disciples, that yeah, let us be trialed and tested now to really show you who are the true disciple, not me. So we are doing our own work in the house of the Lord. So this is me taking my own stripes for the cause of Christianity.
So I mean, I think it's then it speaks to, you know, I guess everybody with their own level of faith, and us just as human beings trying to make sure that we're not the cause of anybody else's pain. So making sure that we watch how, you know, I mean, we can't always say the right thing. You can't always say the right thing. Sometimes you say the wrong thing unintentionally, but it's to just be mindful of how we speak to people, so that we don't unintentionally cause them pain or wound them, you know, or be insensitive. Somebody said,
oh, did I ever? No. Sadly, I've never been pregnant that I'm aware of. Nah, so because I got pregnant to miscarry now. So
yeah,
nah.
so she's okay. And I know that, you know, we kind of, because of time, we went over it, but we skipped a lot of steps. You had how many rounds of IVF have you had so far?
So altogether, I've had 3 fresh cycles.
Okay.
Yeah. But in the whole process, I also had the opportunity to have 2 frozen cycles. So there's still, so you could say it's 5 cycles, but some people might say it's 3 cycles. So, but it's 5 cycles. Yeah.
It's five cycles so far. And in between all of that, you've also had some health challenges. You had endometriosis that you're dealing with now.
Yeah.
And what's that been like? So it's as if you just can't catch a break. It's from it's from one thing to another.
One thing to another. In fact, I don't even know how to put it. Like, I'm just grateful, because sometimes when I think about it, amongst my siblings, I'm the only one out here. And I can't complain too much, because at least I have access to medical care. Imagine being stuck in Nigeria. I mean, like, the financial burden alone would have even wrecked this marriage to start with. So I can't complain too much, because I know that God at least positioned me to be here. So now when I even think back and look back, like all the time that I was thinking I was making my own selfish decision to marry a bobo, I didn't even know that my journey ahead, God is putting me in a place whereby at least I'll be secured, I'll be safe, it'll be easier to manage. The burden would not break us, but at least, you know, we've got the support or access to facilities. So yeah, so I was later on diagnosed with endometriosis, in addition to dealing with the fibroids. And endometriosis, I don't even know how to explain it. The first time I ever heard of it was Nike or Shinowo mentioning it in one of our interviews, and I'm thinking, what the heck is that? Then by the time I was going for more, I think that was diagnosed maybe in 2014, 15. It was later on. And it was so scary the first time I found out about it. I was bleeding from my abdomen. So I was in the office. I was in my cycle, normal and everything. So I just was about to sit down. And my colleague was like, did you stay in yourself when you had lunch? And I was thinking, I didn't bring oily foods to the office now. What's this about? So I checked and I was thinking, oh my God, is my belly exposed? Am I going to bleed out or something? I was really freaking out because I've never experienced that. So by the time I got an appointment and everything, they said, oh, it's endometriosis. So sometimes it happens around there, or it's just a flesh wound. As long as you continue to bleed, you know, you continue to have those flesh wounds and everything. I'm like, what is this?
What is
Or,
this?
you know, what is this? And I'm the only one, at least in my immediate family, that has all of this.
All
Like,
these. And
everyone, yeah, everyone seems to be okay. And I'm thinking, where am I getting? Because I can't even say this is hereditary, and I'll say it happens in our line of family. So, you know, either way, even if it's spiritual attack or whatever, some people will start referring to it, those things. We call it by its name and by the strap of Christ Jesus.
so, you know, what, you know, as it really has been quite a roller coaster. And sometimes it seems like, you know, do you ever get overwhelmed? Do you ever feel, I mean, you're really showing a lot of positivity. You're showing a lot of faith, but really and truly, you know, it can be a lot for one person to deal with. And sometimes I don't know if you look at other people and you think, this one got married yesterday, the baby came day after, the second day, and, you know, I'm still here. How do you deal with that? With those feelings?
I like, I would say that now I'm more, I would say I'm in a safe place now. Like, I don't feel pity party for myself, unlike compared to last few years back. I would probably say, yeah, I will feel really down. Now I know it's pain. I am more equipped in terms of how to manage my pain. I'm not saying it's easier, but at least I've got, you know, I'm more equipped with managing my pain. I understand the condition more. I'm changing my diet, because that's another thing. Looks is deceptive. People look at me and think, you this girl, you are a size 8, size 10. That's a lie. Yeah, diet. Yeah, so I've had to look at my diet as well and try and cut down on my intake of starchy foods. I do exercises because I've been blessed with, you know, good genes. I don't really have to work out so much. The only thing, you know, that I would say I probably worry about is my waist area. That's where my weight goes to, and it's predominantly because around the fibroid and the endometriosis. So every month I'm bloated and then I'm deflated. You see me some pictures, or people even see me and be like, as the Lord answer our prayer, and I'll be like, now, you know, this is still combined. And the reason why I can't really treat it, you know, aggressively like I could have, medical wise, is because I'm trying to have a baby. Otherwise, they could put me on some hormonal drugs that would kind of like make me menopausal, and just shrink it and dribble. Yeah, but because, you know, we're trying to still.
You're still trying. Do you think you would still do any more rounds of IVF? Are you considering?
Definitely. I'm open to it. It was something we're looking to do in 2020, but we don't know how that. Appointments have just been on the standstill now because of the whole COVID and everything. So I am definitely open to it. I'm open to that. I'm open to surrogacy, like I said. Yeah. So watch this space. It can only get better.
So how can friends and family support, you know, someone who's trying to conceive, or somebody who's having a waiting room experience? What are some of the ways in which friends and family can support? And this question is you know, similar as well.
Do I have a support group? I would say, yeah, because
or support network.
I've had friends who've come off this experience and they've got their kids now. So it's not like I've gone on this journey alone. I would be lying if I said I have. I've had friends, which sometimes can be in a positive and a negative. It could seem like you're still the last one in the class, repeating the class, and you're wondering what is holding you back. Is there a thing that is holding you down? You know, all that mind game plays on you as well. You're thinking, God, what am I being punished for? But I know, and it's what God has told me. He said this is for his name to be glorified. It's not because of... So I'm not even battling myself about that now. Anybody can say as me anyhow. They can say anything they want to say. I just say, it's God you are challenging. So when I say, just take it up with God, because I am about to start fighting this battle now and everything. I know that it's not what I've done, because I know I've not lived a very exciting life like that. So it's not to do with maybe something I've done in the past. And even if it's that, because that's another thing I'm trying to encourage people, please don't feel because of your, past life experience, that's why you're going through stuff. Things happen just because God wants to take the glory in it. And it's not often because of what we've done. So please don't let the devil steal your joy by reminding you of your past or something that you have done, because it's the same rain that falls on the evil and the good people. So, and the same sun that shines on the good and evil people. So we are okay.
Yeah, okay. Somebody says, Karima says, just a word of encouragement. I waited 14 years. So she's encouraging you that, God is still in the business of doing miracles.
No things are passed away. Yes.
Yeah. So, and we're talking about, before, about things, sort of what things people sometimes say, inadvertently or whatever ways in which things that they could sometimes say or do that can come across as insensitive or that can be a bit cruel. But I wanted to know, what are the things that we can do to support you, like practical things that
I think everyone should have that opportunity. I have great friends. I have my friends, they let their kids come and do sleepover. And some friends would not only do that with people who have kids who can do play dates with them. But I don't have kids that they can do play dates, but I'm not missing out on that. So I know my friends allow me let their kids, a couple of my friends let their kids come and do sleepover. So it's things like that. We want to experience that as well. So just include any of your friends. Be mindful and include them. It's unfair that some people, just feel like, I don't want to. It's a conversation that you should be able to breach and say, oh, are you open for it? Do you want to help babysit? Give people the opportunity to actually say, no, I don't want to do it, or then just assume that, I don't want to ask, or before they will not say. I also have even had preconception in their minds that this one that doesn't have a child, maybe will not keep my child in the night. I wish she will use our budget to enter my child or initiate my child. So there's this still stigma that people have against people who don't have kids and feel like maybe they are inadequate. Hello, the fact that you've got kids doesn't mean you make a better parent than I am.
Yeah, you're a better person.
So
I think sometimes sometimes the thing is, and that sometimes people don't know what to say or what to do, because I have heard from people who have said, oh, when they were waiting or they're still waiting, and then they realize they're not invited to certain things. They're not invited to maybe somebody else's child's birthday party because they don't have kids, or they're not invited to naming ceremony because they don't
so that you don't feel somehow.
So you don't feel somehow. Yet some other times people say, they invited me and I went, and it really broke me. Or I have a friend who, when she was at some point during her waiting journey, she couldn't be around children. She couldn't. She just couldn't. It was that there was a phase she was going through, but she couldn't do naming ceremony. She couldn't do children's birthday party. So I guess the thing is to really, if this is a friend, somebody you love, then to have the conversation, like you said.
And know what it is, they can accommodate or what they can't, and set boundaries. It's just like relationship, like you would do with your kids, with your spouse and everything. In my marriage, we have a unspoken rule. We don't swear at each other or call ourselves by names. Just make your intellectual arguments and let us resolve the matter. No oriburuku person come out of this. So it's the same way you do with any relationship. You need to have honest, open conversation, just to say, I'm coming from a place of support. I want to understand how I can, be a better friend, how I can make you more inclusive, how I can not feel different or awkward when you're around me. I do understand that there's some people who can't. I have friends who reach out to me and like, so you went to that person's name, I didn't have the liver to go. Honestly, I can't even hold face together. The way you just ginger, I understand that not everyone is built, the same way. But it would still be best that you invited them than not invite them because you just formed this perception. What if they were in a better place? I don't know that should not be soliciting that, come and invite me to your name.
I think the key is like you said, to be the kind of friend who can have that kind of conversation, to support your friend, to understand that they also go, it might be in phases. Some days you may be feeling it, some other days you're not. And just to be that friend, that sister, that support network who understands and is there and is able to have real conversations around this. Ladu is asking you, do you feel offended when people genuinely ask about your struggle? Because a lot of time people walk on eggshells. Like I was just, what we're saying, we tiptoe around these things because we're afraid to offend as well.
Okay. Yeah, I know. So, before I answer that question, I just want to reply my auntie. Yes, so Sister Me, I see you, Sister Nike. She said I will invite myself. Of course,
yeah.
I'm in. Like, there's no, my friends know me. If you are my friend, though, I don't even wait to say invitation. What is the other one? Me, I just carry myself. What are we doing? What are we carrying? What are we doing? Let's go. So, yeah. So back to the question. It just still boils down to having that conversation. Because can you remind me, because I just got off of it.
The question was, do you feel offended when people ask you, like if somebody genuinely is asking you that, how far does it
I don't honestly, my friends know this. I don't feel that. I've explained this. I'm not one to take offense. I'm not built that way. I don't take offense. So if people ask, I don't feel like they're asking to want to harm me. I don't believe anyone has the power to harm me, first of all. And I think every Christian should operate in that level. Otherwise, it's just pointless your faith. If you feel like someone can take some information off you to go and harm you. But not to the point that I'll not tell them my day-to-day detail of, I have appointments, I'm going to go and see GP. But if someone genuinely, because I know that some people, I believe, because in my family, I'm the only one going through infertility. Imagine if we didn't have me in my family struggling through this. How would they have empathy for someone else? So now, even with my brother, he's like, Sister Me, how are you doing? How is Uncle? Hey, I hope he's not treating you anyhow. Because, he understands, he has empathy. So now when he meets someone else,
who's going through a similar struggle,
he can relate because he has a sister who's going through it. And I think that sometimes God allows us go through these various things so that it can remind us in our community that, look, as we think of the widows, we think of the widowers, we think of the orphans, there are those who are childless as well that we need to be mindful of.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not offended. If someone wants to talk about it, I mean, if I'm offended, I won't be here doing this now.
I think the key takeaway, then, I can't emphasize it enough, is to just be, as we try and think of how to support each other, and we all have different struggles. This just happens to be your own experience, but we all have different struggles. But as we think of how we can support each other and be better friends and better sisters, better to each other, it's really to just, first of all, genuinely be present in the person's life. I can't just, if I'm not your friend, if I'm not your sister, if I'm not really in your life, I can't just see you one day and say, where are the children? You don't have children, blah, blah, blah. But if I've taken the time to build a relationship with you, cultivate a trust with you, then it's based on that. So I think the first thing is to really be present.
Knowing be present.
Know the person, to build trust, cultivate a relationship. Is somebody that you have a real relationship with, that you can ask these kinds of questions, and the person will be able to receive what you're asking with an open mind. So, just a couple more questions. As you look back on the journey, your journey so far, what has surprised you the most about this journey? What is one thing that surprised you the most?
I mean, I can't believe that I am strong. I know people say, oh, you're so brave and everything. I am so insecure. Jesus Christ. I am so insecure. I love the camera. I mean, I love the camera. I know I have a very, warm personality and everything. But I am still human. I get nervous. I'm double thinking things. Is that right? Is that appropriate? Especially with my background and my culture as well, being raised in Nigeria, half the time a woman is meant to be behind the scene. They should see you and you should not be talking. That is how you're raised. So for me, I've learned to be more vocal. Vocal in the sense that God has given me this personality, obviously, for me to be able to lend a voice and speak up on behalf of others, because there are some who the voice have been taken from them just based on the experience they've suffered through this journey. I mean, I'm so blessed I don't know if my in-laws are saying things behind me, but nobody has said anything to my face. So, and I know it's not the same for some of my friends. I have friends who have even born child, God said. They have children. I think they don't have children, no, but they still have in-law issues. But I can't say, I'll be lying here now and God will punish me if I said someone has said anything to me directly in my family. So, and I can't but say that it's a testament that God has created a safe place for me to be able to thrive. Hence why I need to speak out and say, look, guys, I know it's difficult, but you still need to step out of your shell. Don't cover yourself in shame or, in regret or dwelling in some hollow spots because you feel like, see, if you don't have a child, you are inadequate. You are not inadequate. We are all made by God and we are beautiful, beautiful, precious beings. And we should go out there and explore. Many of us could have attained so many things. Sometimes I look back and I just feel like, what could I have attained? Because I remember me wanting to start the YouTube channel. I've been wanting to start YouTube channel even way before this McCall family started. Because the twins are like 7 years old. I've been married since then. I've always had the mind I was going to start a YouTube channel. As soon as I got into the UK and I got into it and I've seen people doing so, like, wow, I'm going to start a YouTube channel when my kids come and I'll build around them. 5 years on, it has still never happened. And every time I get to that reminder, like, there are people who are dying in silence. It's not about you having everything. We all know it. Like you said, everything we go through in life applies. The principles of God applies in all areas of our lives. So this is me saying, look, if there's anyone out there who's struggling with infertility, you're not a defect, you're not inadequate. Please take a bold bold step and just go out and attain what it is that you want to achieve. Be who you want to be. You don't have to be like me, being out there doing, talking about it. But if there's anything you've set in your heart to do, don't condition you having those kids before you start. Because I'm telling you, once the kids come, you don't even have the time again. You won't have the time that you have. This luxury of time that you have now, you won't. So this is the time for you to actually even start and build the empire you're looking to build. This is the time. Yours is it. Yeah.
Amazing. So just go ahead and live your life, like we said, this abundant life. I think we're wrapping up now, unless anybody has any other questions for Wuna. I think it's been an amazing session. I've learned a lot. I've been inspired myself, and I keep saying it. For me, for example, I've read all the books from Yewande Zacchaeus' The Waiting Room series. I've read all those books, and I told Mrs. Zacchaeus a few years ago that the books encourage me. I'm not waiting for children, but there's so many things in my own life as well that I'm waiting for, and I found the books very encouraging. So your experience encourages me because I have things in my own life that I'm waiting for. And what you've said about not waiting for that thing before you get on with your life. Just get on with it. Live an abundant life. Don't allow what you don't have to destroy all the many blessings that you have, all the wonderful things that are going on in your life, and all the things you have to give to the world, because there's so much in us that we have to give. As women, we're not only sent here to be mothers. Whether you are a mother, whether you are not, you have a lot that is deposited in you that you can give and you're supposed to give. So go on with the business of blessing other people with your life. The last question I'll ask is, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? As you think back on your journey, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? Please, if there's anyone out there, if you're single, or even if you are, in the waiting room, please freeze your eggs. Freeze your eggs. All right? Just get those eggs and freeze them.
Freeze them.
I wish I'd known that, and it's something that we're not really, these are those kind of conversations that we don't have access, or information we don't have access to back in Nigeria, that freeze eggs. Like what? Like I tell some of my friends, I know, as we're doing things later now in life. Not being married at 30 is not a big deal. There's so many things to accomplish. So I just tell my friends, please, it's fine that you're achieving in other areas and of your life while you're still trying to figure out who your life partner should be. But please, freeze your eggs I wish I'd done that even when I said I was waiting, you know, not to start a family almost immediately. It would have been great if we had considered that and just freezing some of my eggs while we're waiting. And another thing is, please, there's no time for pity party. The train has moved and you should be moving with it. So please, guys, you know, it's just seems like I'm reiterating the same thing all over again. No, don't live a life of regrets. Life is too short. If you see the way people are just dying, and you know, you'll be like, for you to still be here, there's a reason for it. When you get up in the morning and you can open your eyes, you're not disabled, you don't have any impairments, nothing. You can get up. Look, hell is quivering and shaking that God, this one should not come to realization of yourself. Let us search and know ourselves. Then we can start breaking boundaries. It's important that we know our self-worth. I think half the time, I think that's one thing that's changed me as well. I didn't come to the realization of who I am in Christ. I was just floating along and everything, but now I'm not everything.
There's no time. You're moving. You're doing.
No time to waste time.
No time to waste. No pity parties. You know, I think all things work together. So even when we're talking, like, you know, as we're rounding up, when I'm saying, oh, what would you do differently? It all works together. So it's not about regret. It's just about, you know, having maybe greater insight. And like I said at the beginning of the show, that I'm still going to do a different episode around this choices, fertility choices for women in this modern world that we're living in. You know, and women are starting their lives later on. We're doing masters, we're doing PhD, we're getting married later, we're, you know, delaying, and which is fine, but to understand that, okay, you know, nature is not a feminist. So while you're doing all of these things, some things are grounded in medical science. So this freezing eggs and all of that, that's a conversation that should, you know, is worth having, and we'll have another day. But thank you so much, Wuna, for coming. Thank you for being so open. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for inspiring so many people. All the people who joined today, I'm sure, have been inspired by your story,
thank you so much.
by your positivity, by your outlook on life, by the fact that you're just not allowing this thing to define you, but instead you're going on and you're doing such amazing things. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that you are a walking testimony already as it is, but your testimony is still coming. I don't like to talk about you know, fertility or infertility. I just say you are parents in waiting. So it's just a matter of time. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who joined the show today.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Oh my
thank
God,
you so much for joining.
Like Jesus. Thank you.
Wuna, you can follow her on Instagram at Wuna2. That's WOONA2. And she's on YouTube. Her YouTube channel is Wuna's World, WOONA''S Wuna's World. And she on her YouTube channel does a lot of covers a lot of topics that will encourage women who are trying to conceive, or people who are trying to conceive, as you know, generally. So thank you again once more, and like I said, we'll be back next week Sunday with another topic, another guest. So join me next Sunday at 7 p.m. On Crystal's Conversations. Thank you so much to everyone. Have a fantastic week ahead.
God bless you.
God bless you all. Keep winning.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.